Hey everyone, welcome back to Menace the Menace. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We have a little bit of a different episode for us. We are going to talk about some global politics. And I hope that doesn't turn you off because it's actually going to be a really good one. We have a new friend, Steven Kuhn. Is that right?
That's right.
Thank you so much, new friend. We're so happy to have you. You are in Turkey right now, so there's quite a difference in time, which is great. Thank you so much for giving us your time, Stephen. And I don't know too much about you, but I'd love to. Ben was speaking very highly of you, and he's like, "Hey, this is the guy we got to talk to about like some global politics and what's going on in Eastern Europe, especially." And because of our background of being Romanian, we'd like to hear about what's kind of going on out there because my parents have no clue and no one else can tell me what's going on. So, and everything you see on social media is false pretty much. So we want to hear the truth from our friend Steven. And remember, guys, if you're listening, please like, subscribe, share. And I just want to throw Steven's out there. Steven Eugene Kuhn, Kuhn, is how you can find him on Instagram. One more time, Steven Eugene Kuhn, Kuhn. On Instagram, and he has this mini title there. It's called Political Disruptor. I'd love to get into that right away. What is that all about? Because that sounds amazing, and I kind of want a title like that myself.
Well, the political disruption is basically going against the mainstream. And because of my background of working in politics since 2003, mostly in Europe, a little bit in America, I'm always the guy that says something different than everybody else, to the point where literally world leaders, politicians, parliament members in the U.S. and here, and let's say political, I don't want to say influencers, but decision makers, they actually ask me for my opinion, which is funny to me because I'm basically just a guy. But because of the way that I think, I try to find commonality and not differences. I try to find a way through together, unity, instead of separating. And although that doesn't work a lot for, the divisive marketing and all of the social media riffraff that happens to create that division in order to create sides, to have more power, it still offers an insight that most don't have. And they'll sprinkle it into their narrative sometimes. And so that just came out. That's what they call me. That's what a lot of these guys call me, especially the Germans. They call me the political disruptor because I'm an American that doesn't act like an American in what they think an American acts like: loud, brash, obnoxious sometimes when it says this is our way, kind of thing.
Yeah. Are you welcomed where you're at in Turkey? Like as an American?
I'll tell you what, I've never been more welcome anywhere else. I've never been more welcomed anywhere else. I've lived in 10 countries. And people think Turkey is a dictatorship and all this kind of stuff, but we have church. There's 3 churches within 5 miles of me, right? And then there's Jewish here, there's Muslims, there's Hindus, there's of course Christians. No road rage, 0. No arguments, no pushing and shoving, no bullies, no mean looks on the street. Safe for children. Children walk down the street at 10 o'clock at night. No problem whatsoever. Wow. Every adult has their eyes. Every adult has their eyes on the children watching them.
Wow.
And yeah, it's incredible here. And the family values are number 1. And I mean number 1. Over That's the government, amazing. Over everybody, over everything. Yeah, it's incredible.
And is it still primarily Muslim?
Yeah. They have the mosque 5 times a day. If you live next to a mosque, good luck trying to sleep. But you hear it every day, and I hear it every day, 5 times in the distance, which actually is sort of a cool thing, because if you actually hear it, it makes it, whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. It gives you a moment to say, okay, do something for me.
Yeah.
Go inward or meditate or whatever you want to do. It's actually, I've learned to like it. I've actually used it as a trigger for myself to take a break and sort of come back to me.
Idea.
I would agree. I mean,
really
whatever you believe, I mean, I would use it as to pray to Jesus, and I think it would be a great thing. And it's like, hey, they're doing it 5-10 times a day. How come I'm not?
Yeah.
That's
cool.
We
do it once a week on a week on Sundays. That's about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Even my parents travel a lot. They live in Romania. They retired there about 3-4 years ago now. And they say that Turkey's their favorite place that they've ever been.
Oh, wow.
It's like the cheapest, the highest quality, the best service. They said everything's the best in Turkey. Everything's the best in Turkey. And I always had this like hesitation. It's not? Dang it. I missed the boat. I should have went with them all these times they invited me.
Yeah. It's not cheap at all anymore. As a matter of fact, there's a big boycott against Turkey right now because it's gotten so expensive in the vacations. You used to be able to come here for $500 round trip, including flight, for a week.
Wow.
Now it's like $5,000. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
What happened?
And I'm talking 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Well, hyperinflation. When I got here, the dollar was 17 lira. Well, actually, back probably 6 years ago, the dollar was like 2 to 1. Now it's 40 lira to $1. So you can imagine, rent has gone up. Rent has gone up 300 to 400%. All costs 300 to 400%. Wages go up as well. The government's really good about that. They always raise the minimum wage as inflation grows. So you're basically spending the same amount of money, but it's still expensive as more than ever was before. But it is a beautiful country, especially here where we live in Antalya. The city is like a big ring. There's about 3 million people here. And in the middle of this is about 40,000 acres of farmland. So all the produce, all the vegetables, all of the beef and the chicken, it all comes from here. So we feed ourselves basically in the city. So it's organic, it's fresh. There's no hormones and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
And that makes a huge difference in quality of life. Yeah, it's a huge difference.
Dang, I got to check out Turkey.
Yeah, I'm curious, why you landed there, and is that going to be where you're going to stay, or are you planning on being there for good? Did you hear what I said?
There might be a delay again.
There might be a delay again.
That's okay. It'll cut it out.
Yeah, it got cut out, but I pretty much, no, it keeps cutting out. But I understood, is it going to be my final resting place? No, it's not. We're going to keep it. We're going to keep a place here. I ended up here. I was living in Hungary before this, and before that, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, UK, Spain, Portugal, all those places. And I met a woman who's Ukrainian, and she lived here.
I heard Ukrainian women are beautiful. Sorry, I'm interested if you know. I'm going to go to. I hear people tell me that all the time. You got to go to Ukraine.
Does she have any sisters? Does she have any cousins? Does she have any nieces? Does she
help a brother out? I want to come visit you, Steven.
Yeah. She's an absolute looker, and on top of that, she's super intelligent. Has 3 businesses of her own, and she's basically my. I was talking to a business today. They're looking for money. I do funding for companies, so we've funded about $3 billion since December. Myself and my partner, just out of our living room. And I was talking to a potential client today, and she's like, "Oh, that's a great business. You got to do it." Going off like that. Like, she's really, really intuitive and really smart when it comes to it. Yeah, completely gets it. So that's awesome. A bonus. That's a bonus on top of just beautiful.
I love it.
Rare, my friend.
Well, hey, we talked about beautiful Turkey. We talked about beautiful women. Let's talk about Romania.
Beautiful Romania.
Beautiful Romania. So not too many people walk around throughout the day thinking about Romanian politics. But in the past year or two, Romanian politics has kind of been in the limelight. You had like Tucker Carlson, Sean Ryan interview the former, or I should say like the elected president, but he never became president. You had JD Vance talk about the political situation in Romania a few months back. So why is that? What's going on with the Romanian, or what was happening with the Romanian elections? Because it's kind of a done deal now. So maybe you could give us an update on that too.
Well, the issue is that the Balkans and the Slavic states, they were always the buffer between East and West. And it was fine. Sometimes they were controlled by the East, sometimes they were controlled by the West, or they had influences either way. But now it's getting closer and closer. So now they're becoming a part of either the East or the West, and they're being pressured to conform. And the problem with the election was they had a majority conservative election, primary. And the guy who won, I forget his name, was suddenly caught. Georgescu, that's it. Yeah. It sounds like Ceausescu, but which is not the same guy.
Yeah, very close though.
Not the same.
not the same guy. I have a funny story about Romania. So back in 1999, 2000, I co-founded a organization in Romania called Baby Cradle Romania. And at the time, you may remember there was thousands of abandoned babies in hospitals.
Right, I remember. Yeah,
you remember
very well.
So, So we set up an organization that allowed mothers to come to us instead of leaving them at the hospital, and we would give them 2 weeks to get over that birth remorse, and then come back and we would take care of the babies.
Wow.
And we were setting that up. And there was orphanages everywhere and all kinds of stuff. And there was a lot of American Christian organizations over there taking care of orphans.
Yeah.
Right. Well, when Romania wanted to join the EU, their stipulation was you can't have any more homeless kids. So what they do, they called us into their office, the EU administrator, whoever she was, called us into the office and said, how dare you come to our country and point fingers? How dare you come here and act like we have a problem? And we're like, you have a problem.
Yeah.
It was like
major
50 orphanages. And it was like 50 orphanages in Bucharest alone. I mean, and they said, you're out. You can't be here. You pack your shit and get out.
Wow.
So they kicked us out of the country. And what they did is they started foster care. So they got money to pay everybody to take these children. So they paid poor people to take homeless kids who only took the kids for the money, which created a very big issue there at the time. And that's where some of the crime comes from, because they're not in a real family. They're just basically a paycheck.
Yep.
Right.
And so that's where some of the bad rap comes from Romania, which I'm sure you've heard, in Europe, like, oh, the Romanian gangs come over here and rob us and stuff like that. Well, that's where that comes from, partially. Right. Number one. So back to the election. Once they found out that the European Union, or the globalists, or whatever you want to call them, the elites or whatever, they found out that they couldn't beat the conservatives. The only way to do that is to find some dirt. So what did they find? Russian collusion. Right? Sound familiar?
Of course.
And they found money. Yeah, they found money in his apartment, because who's the bad guy? Russia. They found money in his apartment from Putin. However they know that's Putin's money, I have no idea. And so they annulled the election that he had won, and they said, we're going to have another election. Well, the same thing happened. They, in the primaries, another conservative won. Well, they nixed that as well, and they ended up putting in a globalist to take over it, which is going to. And from all the Romanians that I've spoken to, they're very disgruntled, very upset, very worried about their country. And there's the largest NATO base. The largest NATO base is being built there now as well. And then it goes to Serbia with the lithium and all this kind of stuff. Oh.
We have landscapers now. We got landscapers. I can't do anything about that, guys. I'm sorry.
Dude, Dennis, we don't need your dog's opinion. We've got a guest here.
He agreed. He totally agreed. See that?
Yeah.
So it's hard to watch, because I spent some good time in. Matter of fact, when I showed up in Romania, I was on the front page of the ZUA. I don't know if you know the ZUA newspaper. I was on the front page 2 days in a row it was during the first Gulf War in 2000. Actually, it was 2003 when the second Gulf War started, and it had Saddam Hussein, George Bush, and Osama bin Laden, and me.
No way.
Like on a different square.
Why?
Right?
Why?
So I can send it to you guys. It's funny.
That's awesome.
Well, it was the front page, so the top was the war, and the bottom was me.
Got it.
Oh, okay. So you were like
American. It said American. No. I wasn't in the same picture.
Okay.
And they said American war hero is helping Romanian children. It was crazy.
Wow.
And I showed up at the mayor's office of Timișoara, which is a city in the west, and they had like an American flag and dignitaries. I was like, no, I'm not representing America. I'm just a guy. So I had to calm them down a little bit. But it was quite cool. Quite cool.
Got it.
Yeah.
So they annulled both of those elections. They put in their own guy. It sounds pretty textbook, because this is happening across. You got Brazil, Greece, Italy. This is happening almost in unison across the board. What do you think this is about? Why are they doing this? What's the goal with this?
Well, let me say something about Turkey real quick, just about the same thing. Well, what they did there with the conservatives, you may have heard in Turkey, maybe you didn't, probably didn't, that Erdogan, the president, put 3 mayors of major cities, including this one, in prison.
Wow.
For collusion, for smear monies, and all that kind of stuff. So basically, where in the West they took the conservatives and put them in prison, these were globalists that were mayors that were trying to unseat him the same way they're trying to do in the West. He said, I'm not having that. And he put him in jail. So some people say, my God, it's a dictator. How can you just put him in jail? I'm like, wait a second. Didn't they just do the same thing in the West? Just the opposite,
Exactly.
So it's happening. They want to take a look at the society in the West and look at the society here. Here you have mother, father, children. You have the nuclear family. You have a religion or faith and whatever that is. And you have a strong, any strong nation, any strong society has a foundation of some kind of belief and family.
Yeah,
definitely.
Any strong nation. And that's what they want to break, because if we are always at each other's throats, they can basically do whatever they want, and they control. It's easier to control. Put it this way. LGBTQ, right? If you're in that group, cross-section, intersection, all these kind of things, you're special. So what do? You act special. That upsets the other ones. Then they get told, well, you are, a black female, you're a black male, you're a Asian American, you're a Latino American. They're splitting us up into subgroups, so that we just argue all the time. And if you look at what they're doing in Europe, they're closing the number one exporter of produce, I believe it's produce, of food, basically, in Europe is Holland, believe it or not. They're closing all the farms.
Wow.
All the farms. Why are they closing the farms for the largest producer of food, right? You have in the UK, they're paying farmers more not to grow food than if they would grow it and sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I've heard this.
Yeah. In America, last year, there was 80 egg farms that burned down, right? 80, like ridiculous. So what they want to do is if they control the food, they control us. And why is that? Because as an example, I give my COVID example. So I have a buddy who's a cop, and I saw him throwing someone on the ground for not wearing a mask. I said, dude, what are you doing? You don't believe this shit, do you? He goes, it's not about belief. He said, if I don't do it, they're going to fire me. If they fire me, I lose my paycheck and my pension. I got a house, I got a mortgage,
Right.
So the Western society, especially in America, is a slave to debt.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who would speak out don't, because they're worried to lose that check every month, and then they can't move. So imagine now, not only that, but the only food you can get is from the government, right? And if you act up, you're definitely not getting food, not just money, but no food, or you're getting the worst food, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
That's total control. That's total control. And that might sound conspiracy, but if you just pan out, like I always say, and look at the facts, they're closing the farms. They're paying farmers not to grow. In America, they actually had, I forget which state it was. They said, you have to destroy your crops and we'll pay you for it. If you don't destroy it, we'll destroy it and we won't pay you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, so it's incredible to see that this is happening right under our noses, and everybody's just going about their business, going to their damn Walmart and buying their whatever. It's so sad. And then again on social media, and you're full of it and you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, how? Then tell me. What don't I know?
Right.
And then it's crickets. And so I try to break that narrative by speaking directly and saying, look, it's like a signal. So basically like a lighthouse. I'm sending a signal out. You can either heed it, look at it, you can use it for guidance, or you can run into the rocks and crash and burn. Doesn't matter to me, right? This is what I'm saying. This is it right here. You can make your own conclusions.
Yeah.
So I present facts, whether Trump did something good or it's just something bad, or is it world opinion? Is it American opinion? I just put it out there. And it doesn't matter what I say. If I say I'm putting this out there with no opinion, I don't care left or right. It doesn't matter. I will get lambasted by somebody. Always. I mean, in the same video, I get called a Putin sympathist. I get called a Zionist. I get called a Putin hater. I get called from the same video, same message, completely different understanding.
It's probably
that's
bots,
sort of the disruption.
Honestly. It's probably just like
there's some people that are real. Yeah, there's a lot of bots. There are a lot. Yeah, there are a lot of bots. Yeah, but there are some people there that are really. I mean, I actually one guy who was the worst. We're actually friends now. We're doing business together.
Nice.
People who don't let go, I invite them to a discussion. People who really go hard. I invite some like I have a fellow veteran that did a duet with me on TikTok, and he was going hard on me and saying stuff that I didn't even say. So I wrote him, I'm like, dude, let's get on the call. Okay, yeah. Well, he never did. He just kept skipping around. Another guy did a duet with me and talked all kinds of trash. I got on with him on a Zoom call, and I said, look, he said, I'm so sorry, I'll delete it. I said, don't delete it. Leave it up. It's okay. It's fine. That's your opinion. He deleted it anyway. But the point is this. If It doesn't matter what you believe or don't believe. If I don't know what you believe, or I don't know if you're left or right or up and down or whatever, we're going to get along. And then when you open your mouth and you say, I like Trump and I happen to not like Trump, or the other way around, then all of a sudden I don't like you anymore. That's where we are right now.
Stupid.
I don't like you not because of who you are, but because of what you're saying. Yeah, it's shallow. It's weak. It's not leadership. It's following. It's sheep. And I cannot stand weakness. We are here to make a difference, whether it's in our families or in the world, but we are here to make a difference. And everything we do in our world has a ripple effect to the outside world.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you see the same things that are happening besides Holland? Are there other countries that are doing the same thing that America? I mean, because what happened in Romania, it was almost like a mirror image of what happened in America, like the Russian collusion, all this stuff. And then, they got their way with Biden, right? And again, I'm not saying that they don't have their way with Trump. They probably have their way with Trump also, but is it happening in other countries as well that you're seeing?
Yeah, well, I'm the co-organizer of an organization called the Civil Coalition of Germany, which is now called the Civil Alliance. And we grew a foundation of about 500,000 followers, and then we moved into politics directly. And it was the largest non-party political organization in Germany, and it was all for the people. And now it's the AfD, which is the second largest majority in the parliament, but the most popular party in Germany.
Wow.
They've been outlawed. Wow. They've been outlawed. They're trying to make them out. They're trying to outlaw them.
Oh yeah.
Police officers. Yeah, any police officer or fireman or whatever, they're starting to get fired if they're a member of the party. The foreign minister said no AfD parliament member can travel with him on the plane. So they're doing everything they can to stop the people from having a voice. And if you have politicians that stand in front of you, like Ursula von der Leyen, who's the president of the European Union, who was a criminal in Germany. She was a defense minister and did backroom deals, got busted. And instead of putting her in jail, they made her the president of the EU. Same thing with the vice president of the EU. Wow. Same thing happened to him in Portugal. So now you have two criminals from their own countries that are flunkies they sent to the European Union. What do you think they're going to do to stay out of jail? They'll do anything. So they put them in place. And so they stand in front of you and they say things that that I know, that everybody knows is BS. And people pretend they believe it because it's serving their agenda, serving their narrative, serving their direction that they want to go in life, even though they know it's not true. It's incredible. It's incredible how passive and easy people are to manipulate.
Yeah. Do you think people are, okay, this stuff's so obvious, like the stuff that they're doing, they're not even original. Yeah. The same playbook they use on Trump, they use in Romania, they use in Brazil, they use it, you know what I mean? It's the same script. Like anybody with two brain cells can like put that together and be like, hey, is Russia really like interfering in everything in the world? Like those guys, they're not doing that great. They can't just like run the show, But it's interesting that like at this point in human history, I think for the first time in history, you can kind of see the world acting in uniform, like in one accord. You know what I mean? It's different countries, different borders, different religions, aspiration. They're all doing the same thing, especially during COVID. And then since then, it hasn't let up. But who do you think that is? Like, who sends out these marching orders that all countries follow? Who puts together this playbook that like all countries impose on politicians and arrest their rivals and stuff like that? Like, who's putting that out there?
Well, most of the European Union leaders and some of the prime ministers in Europe, they went to the Young World Economic Foundation school. So when they're younger, they go to school at the World Economic Foundation, they get trained in this ideology, right? So whoever runs that, who's on the board, Al Gore's on the board. I forget who else is on the board. I know Al Gore's on it, of the World Economic Foundation, where Klaus Schwab just got relieved for a fraud and abuse. So they get indoctrinated. And if you look at Macron, if you look at Trudeau, if you look at Kurz from Austria, who isn't prime minister anymore, if you look at all of these, even Obama, they're good looking, they're young, they're great orators, and it's an image that people say, oh wow, he's smart, she's smart, good looking, they can't do nothing wrong. Yeah. And they're the ones that never had a job, like totally. Like Macron came out of school went right into the Rothschild Bank and was a director after like a year. And then he ended up getting into politics. Next thing you know, he's prime minister. Never had a job in his life. Never did anything in his life. Just went to school and learned how to be a globalist. And so he's completely controlled, and he thinks he's right. I mean, you get to the point where you have to believe it. Otherwise you go crazy.
Yeah, I think so too. You have to believe it. You have to be sincere in this, and that's the way they get you to. I remember, just a side note, I remember growing up, this is embarrassing, but my parents, they would watch TV, and then when a new election was happening, and my dad would say things like, yeah, that guy doesn't look like a president. Like, he can never be president. He doesn't look like a president. He doesn't have the face of a president.
Funny.
And I'm like, what are you saying right now? And he would like not vote like that, I don't think, but it was like, he would have that mindset. Well, that's crazy.
But it's not a mindset. It's programming.
Yes.
Look at movies. Look at movies. What do you see who's the bad guy in the movies? Every movie you see, who's the bad guy?
Oh, don't make me say this. Oh, okay, good.
Russians.
Dennis was going a totally different direction with that. Just so
I know what you're going to
say. Yeah. Oh my God. Don't do it, Dennis. We're going to get banned again.
I won't do it.
So, it's always even my wife, who's, as I said, was Ukrainian. She's like, I bet you the bad guy's Russian in this movie, and they're talking, and I'm, it's like a fake Russian accent, and then all of a sudden, where are you from? I'm from Russia. She's like,
there you go.
What? Every time it's always the Russians, and that's not a mistake. That's not coincidence. That's wanted. Right. That's programming. Look, every piece of news you see, every CNN, whatever they are, right? It's all directed at you, the viewer, to incite a specific reaction, action, belief, or to curve or to lead you down a specific path of belief, programming, and indoctrination. That's what it is. That's literally what it is. And to break away from that, it means you have to, like, it's difficult for me sometimes because I get mad. I look at the babies in Gaza, all the kids being killed in Gaza, and it just pisses me off. And that old soldier in me, that old soldier in me wants to like break out, but I can't let that happen because that's all emotion. And emotions against facts is oil and water. So when I go on social, I'm very calm, very straight, very non-biased in either direction, so that people can understand. Look, I'm delivering a message. You deal with it how you want to deal with it, but I'm telling you now, you will react according to your programming, and you can see it in the comments. Okay, they're left, they're right, they're centrist. You just see it immediately. And even when you tell them this is going to happen when you watch this video, you're going to get upset or you're going to be happy. One of the two. Wow. And they still do it. It's almost impossible for people to break free unless they're conscious of what's actually going on in the world.
So I want to say something on that, because for me, the breaking free, right? For me, it's been Jesus. It's been the Bible. Like, for me, like, that's the only thing that helped me like break free from, being on one side or another. I just wanted to kind of plug that in there. It's just that's the only thing I have that for me, it like levels out the playing field, and it gives me that more centrist kind of view of things. Maybe it's not centrist. I don't know. Maybe it's just different.
It also gives you a perception of something higher and beyond even than government and the powers that be. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, in communist countries, what's the first thing they do? They go after the people that believe in God, is because they're the ones that are willing to say, hey, there's a power above the government. Romania included. They did that pretty boldly.
And did a good job at it too.
Yeah, man. So another thing. Well, go ahead, Steven.
Well, it's any faith. It's basically any faith. Anything you believe in that's bigger than you. Right. That's what they can't have. If you believe in a divine being, whatever that is. I mean, I'm Christian. I believe in God. But any divine being that's bigger than you that our Western governments can't have, unless it's one that will, and this is a whole other subject, we don't have to get into it, into the mass migration into the West, for instance, into Europe, with the changing of and you have Hungary hanging on, as the Christian breadbasket of Europe right now, and they're the only ones that are hanging on to their churches. No, it's not. It's Hungary.
Wow.
Poland's already halfway exposed to the globalist agenda. They've already,
because they were doing a good job, weren't they? I thought that they were wow, man.
Well, that's the new thing. They go in covertly now. They have a conservative that actually is globalist. So it's like,
it's like the Bushes here, bro.
Yeah,
exactly. But if you look at life in general, right? You got like 4 layers. You got politics. That's how society is should be run, they say. Then you have ethics, which is basically good versus bad. Then you have metaphysics, like what's real? Is there a God? Like we just talked about. And you have epistemology, which is how do we know what we know? Right? Politics is the result of all three of those things, right? And you have then Western society and Eastern society are based on two philosophies. So if you look at Plato is collectivism, mysticism, group above the individual. And that led to communism, fascism, radical Islam, and socialism. Then you have Aristotle, which is logic, reason, observation, and individual rights. And that led to Renaissance, Enlightenment, and the only constitution on the planet that's based on individual rights, and that's the U.S. Constitution.
Dang.
Right. So you know where we came from, but we're not there anymore. Right. And because our founding fathers attached to Aristotle through John Locke, who was an individual rights, property, liberty philosopher back in the day. And so it's just, and you can look at it. If you look at East and West Germany, it used to be Germany, then the war, Second World War, then it split. Russians took one and Americans took the other side. And when they came back together in 1989, I was there on the border as a soldier. It was two different people because one had Plato, one had Aristotle, completely two different people.
Wow.
And it's also, if you look at, for instance, Gaza, for Muslims, the afterlife is more important than this life. For us, it's this life. What you do in this life that gets you to the afterlife.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. So even that, it's like this. So it's like this. So we're missing each other. And the thing about it is, it's good intentioned from the person.
Right.
They're being manipulated, though. It's sort of like when the Chinese Sparrow campaign. I don't know if you heard of the Chinese Sparrow campaign back in the day. I don't know when it was. All the sparrows were eating all of the fields of seeds, so they couldn't grow any food. So they decided to kill all the sparrows. So they killed all these sparrows. They gave like a quota on all the farmers, and then that completely destroyed the ecosystem. And then the food still didn't grow.
Wow.
So good intentioned, intentioned, but it led to an ecosystem collapse and mass famine, the largest famine China has ever had. So
what a story.
Wrong ethics, good intentions equals disaster.
And China still hasn't learned. It's because then they had the one-child policy.
And
they're screwed.
They're paying for that too.
Yeah.
So these are all these things that I think of. I think of all these things. If you can imagine, this is what goes through my head every day.
You connect the dots.
But you're connecting the dots. Yeah.
I think about this stuff, but it's just like scattered. It's like birdshot.
Well, you're also living it. You're there.
Exactly.
And you're involved with people, and you can actually make an impact. Which is great. Because I was going to ask you, that's what do we do? What do we do with all this? Knowing that it's just so, and it's all moving in that direction more and more. What do we do? What do we do as a country? Or even as a people?
As humanity, break it down. Where can you start? What can you influence? If you can't influence it, don't worry about it right now. Don't get upset about things that are happening that you can influence. What can you influence? And like I said, you influence. If your world is not square, if your world is not straight, you'll never be happy with the outside world. Get your world straight. Get those ripple effects going out. I call it radiant value, right? You do something good in your life and that radiant value continues on out. I wrote about it in my book. I don't even know if you guys know I wrote a book, but it's called Unleash Your Humble Alpha.
I love that.
And I write about radiant value. I write about radiant value quite often because if you're not at peace with yourself, if you're not certain of your values, of your core principles in life, and I talk about those as well, I call them HIT, honesty, integrity, and transparency. Honesty with yourself, why you do say and think like you do. Transparency is how you step into the world with that honesty, and that's your ongoing reputation. Byproduct is integrity. Integrity makes you authentic, right? So if you live by these principles, then you look at something and you go, this isn't right, but can I change it? No, I can't. Okay. What can I change in my world to make sure that I don't end up like that? That's how we got to do it. Because let's face it. We are more than them.
Oh, for sure.
That's what they're terrified of. They're terrified of one thing, unity. They're terrified of unity. That's the only thing they're terrified of. They're terrified of anything else. Because if we ever woke up and quit choking each other out, man, they couldn't stop us.
Yeah, that's the same principle as the kingdom of God, right? Like, just growing out from an individual into family, into work, into, local politics, whatever. And that's where we can make those changes. I like that response. That was really great. I love that.
And it's the same because you start in your home, then it goes to your community, then it goes to your city, then it goes to your state, then it goes to your country, then it goes to the world.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he's dead on about the fact that the biggest fear these guys have is that people would unite and disregard their differences. So what do they do other than focus on the differences? And even look at even the like social media algorithms. They're catered to, and they promote people that are antagonistic, divisive, argumentative. That's what these things foster. So you could tell that it's a psyop. You could tell the algorithms themselves are created to keep us divided amongst ourselves. Because if we did unite, I mean, listen, I don't care if you're like Muslim or Christian or Buddhist or whatever. Who cares? There's still some psycho telling me to freaking like cut my kid's wiener off. You know, we can agree that that's insane and that we should probably stop that, right? And then we could have coffee and talk about who God is after we stop that. You know what I mean? But we don't even get there because they've already implanted this hate towards one another and this animosity towards the other in our minds. So like, is that a good place to start? I don't mean to sound like ecumenical, you know what I mean? Where our differences don't matter and it's all kumbaya. That's not what I'm talking about. But I mean, is there a way strategically to I don't know, come together in order to kind of fight against what's actually being done to us by the powers that be?
Great question. And here's how you do it. You become whole with yourself and you put out a frequency that attracts exactly those people that are on that frequency. I don't live in this world like everybody else lives in this world. Number one, because I live in a country where I don't understand the language. So I don't get any of the riffraff. I don't get anything in the news. I don't get any of the bombardment. Right. So that's number one. Number two, when I lived where I did speak it, I still didn't get it because I didn't pay attention to it. And I don't mean I ignored it, but I didn't let it affect who I was. So when you're with yourself, and I mean, love yourself, right? Be full with the spirit of God or whoever it is that you believe in. When you're in that place, you're unshakable. And you have to have faith in that, in your abilities to deploy your genius in any given situation. Like right now, if a hurricane came, if SWAT busted in the door, I can deal with it. When you have that certainty allows you to let go of the how you're going to do anything. Because you know you're certain of it, it will happen. That's the frequency. That's how you attract people in your life at that frequency. And that's how you actually facilitate change.
Dang. Dennis, we got to start vibrating, bro.
Yeah. Hey, well, so is that something that you do? Do you help people with this or?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've coached thousands of people. I mean, I'm a business advisor, but if you look at a business, any business that isn't running well, it's always the leader.
Yeah.
It's always the leader, you know, having an affair, goofing off, not paying attention, but blaming everybody else, all these different things. And that comes from a lack of self-awareness, lack of certainty, lack of self-love. It always comes on that, but I can't go in saying that. I help fund their company. Then I help them grow and scale. Hey, let me talk to you about something. I saw this, this, and that. Where do you think that comes from? The next thing you know, we're in a discussion that has nothing to do with the business, but everything to do with their success.
I love that. I might have to ping you offline because there's some stuff I'm involved in that I'd like to kind of see if you can help with, or at least, you know, just
feedback.
Yeah, feedback for sure. Steven, I'm learning a lot from you. This is great. I really like this conversation.
And we thought we were just going to learn about Romania, the motherland.
Well, you know, I like this because we have to look at the politics. We have to look at a global level and see what's happening, right? I mean, I think that if we're so stuck in our little worlds, you know, all the time, we're just going to miss out what's happening, and for our children, right, and our children's children, right, and for who's to come, we need to protect them. And so I'm grateful for people like you who are standing up for the children, or standing up for, and you're out there, you're in Turkey. I mean, it's amazing. I love that. When did you leave America?
1986. 1986. Oh, wow. I went to the military. I joined the military. I'm 58.
Thank you for your service, by the way. Thank you for your service.
I joined the military.
Yes.
I went to,
Dennis, you're not doing good, bro.
Yeah, I'm not doing that great.
You're not doing good. You guys look the same age.
I'm coming to Turkey, man. I'm gonna book some time with you, buddy. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back ripped. I'm gonna come back with a hot Ukrainian chick. There you go. There you go, bro. Yeah, bro. All right.
I'm coming to Turkey too, but with my wife.
Nice.
Well, again, you have to put yourself a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy business. Yeah. That's my motto. It's like in America, that's why we don't go too much, because if you're there for 2 weeks, I feel sluggish, tired, bloated, burned out. It's incredible. The food, you cannot get good food. Now, I live in Pennsylvania, or my parents live in Pennsylvania, my mom, my brother, my sister, and there's farmers markets there from the Amish. Yeah, so you can get some good food there. But it's, but the regular, it's incredible how a whole society is being drugged by food. It's incredible, horrible.
Yeah. And Dennis, like you said,
and look, you said we can't ignore the outside world because. I'm sorry, you're frozen.
Go ahead,
so I didn't know
Steven.
you were talking. Sorry.
Go ahead.
But if you want to look at the outside world, like you said, you have to look at. Okay, you have to look at the trends, like you said. What's happening in all these different countries? And if I see it in my neighborhood, then I can do something about it. Yeah. But if I wait until everything's happening, then like if you see activists, because that's where they start at grassroots, right? If you see it start happening, then you can intervene, then you can try to make a change, make a difference before it gets too big. If you're not aware of what's going on out there, it'll just roll you over like a steamroller.
Right.
Yeah. And we started talking about politics, right? But he made the point earlier that politics is the result of a few other layers of things going on, right? So that's why it's so important to get down to those other layers personally.
Yeah, because ethics, metaphysics, epistemology. Ethics, what's good versus bad. Metaphysics, what's real, is there a God? And then epistemology is how do we know what we know?
I love it. Dude, that's great. Because we could look at how could you put it? The politics is the symptom, right? And then everything else you just described, those could be sick, and so it's resulting in the symptom.
Amen.
So focusing on those inner layers, those are things that we could actually do right now, personally, before we even step outside to go do stuff in the community. You know what I mean?
You're nailing it. You're nailing it.
So I love it. I haven't even read your book, man. But I'm picking up what you're putting down. I think it was when you flexed. That's when I'm like, oh my God, I gotta.
He's serious. He knows what he's talking
about. That's when it hit me.
Hey, first of all, thank you for your service. I said it earlier. I don't know if you caught that, but I wanted to say that. Thank you so much. And do you have is your book on audio as well or no?
It's just on Audible, and it's in Amazon, hard copy, and Kindle.
Great. I'm going to definitely check it out. And what's it called again?
Unleash Your Humble Alpha.
All right. Beautiful.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think I've been working a lot on the humble, but not so much on the alpha part.
Well, that's the beauty of it, because anyone who's certain of their abilities to deploy their genius in any given situation, that certainty carries an alpha within you. I call it the nuclear power plant right here. You don't need to say anything, do anything, because people see it, they feel it, and the frequency's out there. So you're automatically humble on the outside when you're powerful on the inside. Anyone who's powerful on the outside, anyone who's uber powerful on the outside is compensating, or they're trying to act as something, right?
Yeah.
So I worked with veterans a very, very long time, and there's a lot of veterans that carry that identity. And we get into the first chapter of the book, we get into the identity. If you ask somebody who they are, they'll tell you what they do. You ask somebody who, no, that's your job. I'm the CEO. No, that's your job. Okay, I'm a father. I'm a husband. Nope, that's what you do. Who are you? Most people don't know.
Yeah.
And until you know that, you can't fulfill your true purpose. And your true purpose comes from your identity. So once that purpose is crystallized, as you implement and move forward with your purpose, that amplifies that identity and gives you what they call presence. And presence comes from being present when you're with somebody. And that's creating a space around it. It's like you're showing up wholly and fully for the person in front of you with no preconceived notions of a specific outcome. So I show up, I'm here to add value by solving problems. I'm certain of my abilities. I'm living my purpose. My purpose amplifies that identity and gives me that presence. And this is something that I teach. I mean, I was on stage. I was next to Tucker Carlson. I was on stage in Mind Valley University. I was on stages all over the world talking about this stuff. And it seems at first glance maybe difficult, but when you go through the book, the thing about the book, I don't want to plug it, but here's why it's in 10 universities in America. Because after each chapter after each chapter you have action steps. Exactly what you need to do to get there. Exactly after each chapter. Because when I was reading all these books, I'm like, this book's great, but man, I got to use a highliner, then I got to put tabs on it and go back. And I'm like, God, why can't they just have like a step by step? So that's what I did in the book, and that's it went pretty well. Bestseller.
Yeah, we need the practical, right? I mean, especially as men, right? And when I read your title of your book, I think of the word meekness, right? Like to be meek is to be able to restrain your power, right? To restrain that danger that's inside of us. And I think that's what it kind of describes Jesus, right? He was meek. He had all this power. He could have done whatever he wanted, but he restrained that. And I like that. I think as a man, we need to be meek.
Well, that power you're talking about, that's the frequency. So you're automatically, you have no need to be tough, hard, loud.
Right.
Because it's in you. And people saw Jesus. And they're like, whoa, who's that?
Yeah.
It's sort of like when you're somewhere in a meeting or a club or whatever, and someone walks in the room and everybody turns and looks. The guy didn't say a word or the girl didn't say a word, but everybody looked. Why? Because they got massive presence, because they're sure of themselves. They're certain of their abilities. So they walk in, everybody looks. Wow, who's that? Same thing. Jesus, same way,
Yeah.
And so when you have that power, you're automatically humble on the outside because you don't need to say anything. You just, people see it, feel it, the vibration, the frequency.
Yeah. Do you have any, are there any fears where you're at in Turkey or when you go to Hungary about any of the stuff you're talking about?
Any what? Fear?
Yeah. Do you have any fears, like free speech fears or anything like that? Or somebody's going to pick you up?
I'm not going to the UK anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah. We can't. Menace the Menace is not allowed in the UK
either. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to the UK anytime, but no, so far, especially not Hungary, not at all. Germany, not yet, but it's getting there. I'm a supporter and a vocal supporter of the AfD. And it's just, it's sort of weird when you think about it. Here, no. Of course, if I would talk bad about the government here, I'm sure they wouldn't be happy about it. But I have nothing bad to say because I always say this: choose your dictator. Wow. Choose your dictator.
Yeah,
an open dictator, or a pretty one who talks nice but is a worse dictator. You can't tell me that this guy in the UK who looks like a harmless, middle-aged man, that he's not a dictator. Of course, he's not a dictator.
Wet noodle in a soup.
They have. Did you hear about the new law they have in the UK starting on the 15th? Anyone who leaves the country more than 3 times a year will automatically put on a red flag list and will be investigated for financial misgivings. Saying that even if you're going on business trips, they're going to find out how much money you make if you're living above your means and if you're abusing the system. Blah blah blah. Yeah. And now they're trying to pass a law, and they're probably going to pass it, that with this new Palestine, whatever the Palestine, or whatever it's that Palantir system they've implemented there. They say with the algorithm that's in there, it can actually tell them what you're about to do or what you may do, and they want to be able to arrest and prosecute you on what you will do in the future.
Minority Report. Remember that movie? Minority Report. That's exactly what's happening. That was a good movie.
Yeah. I hope it stays a movie, my friend. I hope it stays a movie.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
They're honestly, I think they're like using it as a roadmap. That's what's interesting. Or they were just really good at predicting stuff in that movie. Okay,
well,
so
the movies are always conditioning. You know that. Look at Top Gun. The last Top Gun movie was 1-to-1 what happened in Iran. It was like exactly the same. Bunker busters, the whole thing. Yeah.
Dude, that just hit me.
Really? Just now?
That's you realized that before?
Yeah, I realized. I heard it. Someone. I didn't realize it. Someone said it, and then I realized.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
That's dead on. Right. I mean, the reason I asked that free speech, if there's any fears of that, is because that's another thing that's happening pretty universally right now, including in America, is the limitation on free speech. And in America, man, like, now, if you criticize like Israel, you can't get government contracts, okay? Or they're taking away your visas if you're a student at a university and you're like protesting. So and now with, like you mentioned, the Palantir system, now they're going to unite everything you say on social media, all your private information, to like your IRS records and to your like bank accounts and stuff like that. It's just this weird thing that they're implementing here, where I almost feel like America is going to be second to China in terms of surveillance state. You know, we're going to bypass Europe and all that stuff just like this, because like Trump wants us to be AI dominant.
It's the frog in the water syndrome. You know, this is all happening around us, and we just get used to it because it's just like this, little by little by little, and the next thing you know, it's happening. I mean, who would have thought we'd be all walking around with masks on, scared to take them off? You know, I never. Matter of fact. No, I didn't wear them, actually. I traveled openly and freely during COVID. I went to Italy on vacation. I went to Venice and it was completely empty. It was amazing. I went to Peru. I went to America. I went to Germany because I have living permits everywhere. And they had to let you go where you have permits. You know, you have residency permits. And I would travel, and I was at the Lima airport. And in South America, during COVID, you had to wear a mask and a shield.
Oh my God.
So I got on the airplane and it was like something out of a movie because everybody looked the same. Mask, shield, right? And I didn't wear it in the airport. I was the only person in the airport, and everybody looked at me like, wow. And even the police looked at me. They just followed me. I'm like, morning, you know? Wow. And they just looked at me like, either this guy's completely bananas and nuts, or he's allowed not to wear a mask. And no one asked me.
Right. Oh, until you got on the plane. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how it was. The airport, they didn't bother you, but once you got down the plane, that's when it was.
No, they bothered everybody else. Look, he's not wearing one. I just kept walking. You know, I was so certain. I was so certain that I was doing the right thing, and no one stopped me. It's sort of like when you go to concert. Like when I was. So I in the past I worked for Mick Jagger, Olivia Newton-John, Andrea Bocelli, and a bunch of celebrities. And if I didn't go backstage, I didn't go to the concert. So if I didn't go backstage, I didn't go to the concert. And so sometimes I go to concerts like Billy Joel. I went to the Billy Joel concert in Berlin, and I walked up to the security guy at the back. I'm like, hey, man, you're doing a great job. Thanks so much. And just walked in, patted him on the back and walked in. He's like, thank you, man. Thank you. You know what I mean? So it's like, that confidence, that certainty in your voice, a certainty in who you are. It works with little things, and it works with big things.
Yeah, I did that growing up in concerts in Chicago. We'd like go through the back door, and I would just be like, "Hey, man, great guys! You know, you guys are doing a great job. You know, do you need help with anything? Can I grab something for you?" And then we just walk in. We did this. It was actually really cool. Yeah, we didn't do it too many times, but it was fun.
Well, hey, Dennis, I don't know if you know this, but even like kind of connecting a few dots here, even in Romania now, since this new president came in, they're passing these laws, these like free speech laws, where you're not allowed to say anything like racist or something they deem Nazi or radical online. They'll put you in prison. This is now in Romania. You can no longer say or criticize. You can no longer say that historically it was like I don't know how to put this. It was the Jews that developed communism, which is a historic fact. Okay. And they brought it to Romania. You will now, anti-Semitic comments will get you in trouble in Romania. And the EU just gave them $1 billion to help with the future migrant housing issue that they're going to have soon. So like I think Romania is screwed. Like I've been talking to my parents after all this stuff. I'm sending them all this because my parents are kind of aloof out there. You know, they're just chilling and hanging out with friends, and they live like kings because they got their American pensions, you know? But it's changing under their feet. And they don't even realize this. They were just pissed that Georgescu got out. But they don't realize what's happened since.
Well, that's what happened in Canada. Is what you're saying is the baby boomers. The baby boomers were basically the ones that lost the election for the Conservatives because they're like, look, I'm on my pension. I don't want to rock the boat. I'm fine. Let's not vote. Because they looked at who voted afterwards, and all of the baby boomers who were actually conservative just didn't want to rock the boat, and they just reelected. So you know, people want to stay comfortable. They want to stay safe, and it makes sense. And you can't blame them for that, right? But it's about the education through that frequency that we have. You're not gonna talk to somebody who's emotional and give them facts. They don't give a shit about facts. As well as someone who has facts doesn't care about emotions. So, you know, when I'm talking to you about this is what's happening, and you're going, you're a Nazi, you know, you're not going to listen to me. I'm not going to listen to you. And so we got to get away from that. We have to get away from that. We must get away from that.
Yeah.
Unity is the only way. Unity is the only way we're going to beat this. Look at the American Revolution. What happened? Unity against the crown. That's how we won America. Unity against the crown. They stood up against the redcoats. That's how it all started.
Do you believe that there's a chance for humanity? I mean,
yes, 100%. 100%. There's a chance
for unity.
Yep, there is. Because look,
do you think it's actually happening?
In pockets, it's happening. Yes, it's happening in pockets. Yep. The question is, or the point is, once you get to a certain point in influence, in power, in politics, you're going to be visited. So they in 2012, I was visited, and by some Illinois people.
Barack
Illinois.
Obama?
No, but someone who's very close to him and who you would know. He didn't visit me, but I got on a call with him, and they were going to make me a senator.
Well, I'm just guessing because I lived there and I knew the governor. I met him, Blagojevich. But anyway, go ahead.
It was before his time, so
Daily?
It was too. No, not that early. It was 2012. It was 2012, and they had me slated to be a senator. And I was like, where? And they said, Illinois. And I said, well, isn't that Democratic? Yeah. I said, well, I'm Republican. It doesn't matter.
Oh, wow. You would have been president. You would have been President Steven Obama.
And I was young then. I wasn't young, but I was 40, probably 42, 43.
Hey, that's young. That's young.
And I went through the whole process, about 6 months of this process of, them getting me positions in the UN. To sit there for a year, raise $1 million. I raised $1 million in like 30 minutes, and to prove that I could, fund my own campaign there and that kind of stuff. And then I turned it down after working with the people that I know in Europe that are like my best friends, the chief strategist for Bolsonaro, for Bannon, Trump, Chile, the German government. He's like the chief strategist for all these parties, right? For all these politicians. He's my best friend. He says, Steve, don't do it, man. They're eating you up, man. Because they told me you're the perfect poster boy. You're big, you're buff, you're good looking, you can talk. You've never been in prison. I said, is that a qualification? I said, you've never been in prison. You have you have a Bronze Star. You actually fought in a war. You didn't just show up.
Yeah.
And then later I said, well, what are the issues that I'll be talking about? Because this is what I want to do, and I want to actually make a difference. And they said, what don't you understand about poster boy? And I said, "Oh shit! Okay, I don't have nothing to say." He said, "You're going to be the most famous senator in America because you look conservative, but you'll be Democrat."
You would have been the two-eyed Crenshaw. I don't know.
My
dad would have voted for you because you look like a president. So.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, that's crazy. I believe that though wholeheartedly. Like it's all. You will be visited, and if you don't comply, you're not going to be part of it. You're not going to have any room.
Oh, they told me when I turned them down, they said you're the dumbest person we've ever met and the bravest because we're going to fuck with you for the rest of your life.
Jeez.
And they have, and I had in 2008, I lost everything. I had a suicide attempt. I left society.
Oh my God.
I went into a monastery in the mountains of Austria.
No
and disappeared
way.
for 8 months. And,
no way.
I didn't tell anybody where I was. Yeah, it was a Christian monastery. It was a Benedictine monks. They meditate and pray and chant. Most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Wow.
And I was there for 8 months, and I didn't want to leave. And they're like, Steve, you have to leave.
Okay, so that's crossed my mind. That's crossed my mind to go into a monastery. I'm telling you, man. I don't think I've told you, Ben, but that's crossed my mind. I was thinking about it. I wanted to hear more about that story. Steven, you're like, I really want to hang out with you, man. We got to come to Turkey. I wish you're in the States.
Bring it. Bring it.
For sure, man.
Awesome.
Listen, I know we hit that 1 hour mark.
Wait, I want to ask one question. Ask one question.
Okay.
What's the sentiment as you travel around? Okay. What's the sentiment towards Trump out there?
Honestly, mostly positive.
Dang.
Believe it or not. Yeah, mostly positive. You have people in the UK and Australia and Ireland saying, Trump, please come and help us. They don't even care what the method is. They just want it to stop.
Wow.
Right. And they believe that what Trump's doing in America is making it stop. It did look like that for a while, but it doesn't look like that right now, especially with what came out today. with the states losing federal funding if they boycott anything Israel. That doesn't look very much like So, is that a shift from globalism to this? I don't know. I don't know yet, but we'll see. But no, I've never had anything distasteful. I had one woman on an airplane. I walked in the airplane. I was wearing jeans, blue jeans, a blue striped shirt sticking out of a red sweater. And I don't usually dress like that, but for some reason I was wearing it. And and she said, "Oh my God, America. A Trump supporter." Yeah. And she's like, "Oh my God, a Trump supporter." I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I can tell by looking at you. You're conservative." And I sat down beside her because that's where my seat was.
Nice.
And I just listened. I listened for like an hour and a half. And then I said maybe 2 words. And at the end, she said, "You're the first conservative that I want to talk to. And I want to talk to again."
Dang.
And I said, "Why?" She said, "Because you didn't make fun of me. You didn't try to school me. You didn't try to teach me anything. You just listened."
Wow.
Good for you.
And now you guys are married.
You see what I mean? No.
That would have been the best story ever.
That would have been great.
It was worth a shot.
Wow, man.
No.
See, I'm glad that we have people like you.
My wife is very conservative.
Go ahead. Talk about your wife because it's cut off.
No, my wife's conservative. She's very traditional. She likes the man in the relationship to make the decisions without being overbearing. She likes to have her freedom, be able to do what she wants as far as business goes. But she's probably the most loyal person I ever met. And she's a smart woman who takes care of making sure that children are raised properly according to faith, according to man, woman, and children, and the nuclear family. So it's very important to us. Very, very important to us.
Yeah, and becoming more rare these days. So kudos to you, man. And Steven, I'd love to have you back on when you let's say something. I mean, if we got to talk more about this political stuff that's going on the global scale, and if you have time, I know you're a busy man, but so I'm just happy that you're here with us today. But if we can have you back, it would be so great, because this is just, I didn't know what we were going to talk about today, but I'm so happy that we met you, because I think that you bring a different aspect to our channel, totally. And to just a different stage, especially because you're not here in America. I think that helps also in your involvement and the people and all the hard work you've done, and the sacrifice you've made, even for our country and for others and for other people and for children. And man, it's just so great to know you, Steve. I can't wait to dive into your book. We'll put that as a link also. But yeah, I mean, I don't, like I said, I want to respect your time, and I'm so super grateful for you. Let's have you back. Let's do this again in the near future and talk about some other crazy stuff that's going on out there. Maybe we'll talk about Israel's influence next time on the global scale. Why not? I think it's a conversation.
That might have to be a Rumble conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
YouTube's not a fan.
Sure.
And I'm not trying to get on Palantir's radar anytime soon.
Well, I'm going to jail for sure.
You're gone.
Yeah.
You're gone. You're going to flee to Istanbul tomorrow.
I'm going to go hang out with Steven in Turkey, dude. I'm coming. Just kidding.
If I could show you our view right now, I mean, we're literally right 100 feet from the Mediterranean. I mean, it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better than this. It doesn't get better than this. Best restaurants in town are right in front of us here. We're first row. It's amazing, and it's something that I wanted for myself, because proximity to water has a completely different feeling to being in the city. And I realized that when I lived in Hamburg, Germany. I lived on the lake, and I said, wow, this feels so different. I sleep different. I sleep better. I work better, everything. So I wanted something. We have this huge window in front. It's like, I don't know, probably 15 foot long, just a wide open window to the sea. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I had a little bit of that in my life, where I lived right on the sand. Seeing the water was so amazing. It does do something to you. There's a difference for sure.
Yeah.
Even in the air. Steven, thank you so much. Ben, any other final questions before we let him go?
No question, just comment. Did anybody ever tell you look like Russell Crowe? Even sound like him a little bit?
No, I've never had that. I've heard Sly Stallone. I've heard Chris Isaac. I've heard Slider from Top Gun.
Nice.
Add this one to the mix.
All good ones. Good one.
Very good.
Be proud. Yeah. Who do I get? I get the guy who was married to Madonna before. What was his name? That actor?
Guy Ritchie.
No, why did you guys both pick Guy Ritchie? No, before that. I don't want to be like Guy Ritchie. The other guy, he's an actor.
Her dancer?
All right.
Who cares about Madonna?
I know, that's true. Is she still around? She's still around? All right. Steven, thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
we really appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.